Here you are back at Shoot Fire with Ashley, and today we're going to look at a gun to put it back together. Everybody says, oh man, you can't take your guns apart on YouTube, so I thought we would start with one all blown apart like it swallowed a hand grenade and look at the steps to put one back together. Some people are very scared of taking a gun apart. They feel like only a person that has a PhD and a 10-year license in gunsmithing and all that is what you have to work on these, but none of that's true. What you need is a good set of instructions. You need some patience. You need some good coffee and no strong stuff. Don't want any Jim Beam or Jack Daniels when you're working on guns, that is for sure. You need some music. Today we've got Gangster's Paradise. Let me turn that up for you. The reason I'm picking this today is it has a metronome to it. Has some good classical violin work in the background. Got a special beat to it for putting a gun together. This will keep you on pace, on track. So I'm going to just use this as an introduction. We'll post this here in just a few minutes. But you can see what I've got laid out. I've got a slide here to the left. I have a frame here, a lower to the right. Some people call it a receiver. It's a frame for the 1911. I've got one grip that's off. You have to have that off if you have an ambidextrous safety, because your safety's in two pieces. And the only way to hold the one on the right-hand side of the gun is to cover it with a grip panel. So you can see the parts laid out there. And I will let you take the time to take your gun apart and lay the parts out exactly like that, like you see. You may or may not have this threaded barrel. This particular one is a TSOS Raider, and I bought one with all the options that you could get. It has the equipment rail here on the bottom, like that. It has the threaded barrel, and it also has my favorite option of all on this. The reason I bought this, I didn't want to cut up all my fancy 1911s. It has the optic cut that is set up for a 507K, or in my case, I'm going to try out one of the new Olight brands, one of their new O-sights, and we'll have a look at them. So, hope you enjoy this video. This is only an introduction, and we'll see if the music bothers anybody and makes them run away. That theme song of this music is supposed to be license free. We'll see how YouTube does with it. But this came from the movie Green Hornet, which I love. When they got in a custom car the first time to go out and fight crime on the street, this is the song they started playing. This is to show my younger crowd out there that I'm not completely a fuddy-duddy. So enjoy, and see ya after the introduction on what we will call part number 2 coming up next. Over and out for now. Today we are going to continue the process of taking care of the problem with the Colt Gold Cup, and I haven't got the new parts in yet, but I wanted to show you, in case you are far ahead of me. Let's say that you have a new modern gun, but it has some MIM parts in it, metal injection molding parts, and you've decided those are too soft for you. Maybe you've had a failure of one of those parts. You would like to upgrade and make your 1911 into a real fighting pistol, one that you could use as an EDC, an everyday carry, one that you could trust to protect you and your loved ones. But you just don't want the shrinky-dink, soft MIM parts on the inside. These were made for quick production and also to lower the cost for production. They don't lower your costs, but Colt charged $1,400 for a Colt Gold Cup trophy, and it lowers their costs. They keep the profit in their pocket. So we're going to bypass that. We don't want any DEI type parts. We don't want any MIM. We want the real thing. So today, what I've got in front of you is a TSOS Raider, and we're going to work on putting in the first 2 hardest parts by far for somebody that's very nervous or has not ever worked on a pistol before, and you've got it all apart, and you got your new parts in, you're ready to put it back together. This is how we're going to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in, And I'm going to zoom in on 2 parts. We're going to make it 2 or 3 parts that we're going to put in. Let's, I'm going to move my camera over a little bit. And I'm going to get right down to these pieces, okay? Here we go. Zooming in, moving, zooming, moving, zooming. And we're going to get real close and personal with what we're going to work on. Okay. So I'm going to point them out, and then you're going to see these even much closer than this. But we want to look at 2 pieces here. I want to identify them, name them, talk about them for just a minute. The first piece I'm going to talk about is this one that you see right here. It has a probe. It's proboscis. Has a probe here on the top. It has a paddle, a flat part on the bottom that you can see right there. That is called a disconnector. This is something John Moses Browning, when he designed this gun, he was an absolute genius. He did not have digital logic at the time, didn't have any circuitry involved, didn't need it. But he made this little disconnector piece make a digital type decision. It makes a decision of a 1 or a 0. It can either disconnect the trigger, turn it into a 0 where it doesn't work at all, or it could become a binary 1, which that means this allows the trigger to work. So it either disconnects you or does not. That is your disconnector, and he makes a decision based on whether your slide is all the way forward in battery, or if it's cocked to rear, or maybe even slightly out of battery. It can keep the gun from firing. If it's in battery, it can allow the gun to fire. That is your disconnector. You can see him right there. He's got a hole in the side, probe on one end, and a flat boat paddle looking part on the back side. The next piece, this piece right here, is the SEAR. This is the knife edge portion, and this is what is actually holding on to the hammer itself. And I'm going to pull this hammer strut out of the way. Let's get this where you can see all these parts. I want you to see how they work together. This is the SEAR. The SEAR goes in the frame of the gun. The disconnector is going to be saddling the disconnector. And this piece is what its little claw, like if you had your hand like that, its claw is what's going to hold the hammer in place, either half cock or fully cock. And then when you push the trigger, you're kicking this out of the way and letting the hammer fall. So this is the SEAR. This is the part you'd be getting from Wilson Combat, EGW, or Cylinder and Slide, some good top-notch company that makes a tool steel part, and that's what we want to put back in the gun. We want to get rid of the M.I.M. shrinky-dink, metal injection molding, and we want to put in a new disconnector, and we want to put in a new SEAR, S-E-A-R. Now I've got my table all set up today just specially for you, for people that want to learn how to do this. And the other piece we're going to work on, this is where we're going to start. When you're putting the gun back together, you need to have a frame. Now, some people call it a receiver, but it's not really a receiver. Receiver is something that you have on a rifle. So this is the lower frame, not a receiver, the lower frame of the gun. And you're going to see me handling that. That's what we're going to build on. It's the foundation that you build your 1911 on. Everything starts there and goes up from there. So again, let's review this real quick before we grab pieces and start up. We're going to start with the very beginning of this is going to be those 2 little pieces right there. The one with the probe and the little boat paddle, that is your disconnector. The one that looks like your hand shaped like a C, that is your SEAR. That's the part that rides against the hammer. So those 2 pieces are what we're going to install first. I'm going to teach you how to unitize those and hold them in your hand where one is over the other. And we're going to stab them into the back of the gun. It's very easy if you know what to do. And I'm going to grab up the pieces that we need to get this job done. And we'll switch over to the other camera. And you can see what I got here in my hand. That is the frame. So let's review this just real quick before we get started putting these pieces in. We will be using the trigger today. We will have it in motion a little bit to position the parts so we can pin them. We will be pinning. I'm going to show you where the pin goes. Go ahead and grab the pin. It is a fairly small pin and it has a flat head on one end, and the other end is just a good straight pin. It has a slight rounded edge to it. So that's the pin. Let's talk about where it's going to go. I'm going to do all this in slow motion today. This is where the pin's going to go, is in that hole right there. We're going to be pinning 2 parts. All right, let's look at the 2 pieces. Go ahead and lay the frame down. Remember the name of the 2 pieces. Pick them up and put them in the palm of my hand. The first one is going to be this little guy right here. It kind of looks like your hand in a C shape, and that is your SEAR, S-E-A-R. See the SEAR right there? Your trigger bow will push on the back side of it right there, and this little claw is what's going to engage the notches in the hammer. It has 2 notches in the back of the hammer. It has a full cock. That's when you're all the way back to the rear and you can put your gun on safe. Or if you're cocking the hammer and it gets away from you during the cocking process, this can also catch the half cock on the hammer. And that's how I knew that I had a problem with my Colt, is it started failing. So this part was made in the Colt out of M.I.M, Shrinky Dink. You can look that up on Google and you'll find out what Shrinky Dink is. But M.I.M stands for metal injection molded, and we don't want those parts. So this is an actual tool steel part. It's what TSOS uses, called a SEAR. Now, let's have it right there. Keep it there. Let me grab up the next piece on the camera here. The next piece is going to be the logical part that Mr. John Moses Browning made that can do a binary decision for you, a 1 or a 0, and that is your disconnector. See that disconnector right there? He has a proboscis on one end that's going to go up through the hole. Imagine that. It has a place that the pin is going to go through right there. And on the back side, it has what looks like a boat paddle. And that flat paddle right there is what's going to go directly against the bow, the backside, flat side of your trigger. So when you're pulling the trigger linear on a 1911, you're pushing on that flat right there and making things operate. So let's see how these go together. So the way it's going to go in the gun, the flat side needs to go down like that, okay? So flat side down. Then you pick this little guy up here. This is our SEAR. Watch how easy this is. Everybody can do this if you know what to do. So then you pick that up. It's going to saddle. Watch him ride down. Ready? Here he goes. This is pretty tricky, especially when you're trying to do it on camera. And you drop that like that. Look how easy that is, man. That is not that hard. Now, when I've got this zoomed way in, I'm sorry for the movement, but it amplifies my hand movement a bunch, okay? Let me zoom out just a little bit. Maybe it'll make it a little bit easier. Okay, so there's our piece. So now what I'm going to do is use this hand, got an index finger and a beat up thumb, and we're going to grab these like that, okay? Reach in here and grab it and unitize it. So you're going to hold it together. Those pieces are going to stay together just like that, okay? So then we're going to bring the frame of our gun. I'm going to move this over, get it out of the way for just a split second here. Don't give up on me. We're going to bring this gun frame in here. Watch this. Now watch my reference, what we're doing. We're going to turn him over like that, pointing down. And we're going to look right up his backside here. See if we can find a hole there. There it is, man. See that? Okay, see if I can get this at an angle that we can really see it good. Look at that. I got my special lights I borrowed from my wife's fish tank. And there is the bow I was talking about. See if you push the trigger right here. All right, push the trigger. See the trigger right there? That moves a bow, which has a flat plate on the back of it. Stainless steel bow. And there's your flat plate. That's going to be what operates these 2 pieces that we're installing. Okay, so here we go with the install. Ready? We're going to sneak up on it like we're an astronaut, and it's going to come flying in. Look at that. There's the 2 pieces. Remember, I got them unitized in my hand. You got a proboscis right there. We've got the SEAR, which is the part that catches the hammer. And you can't see the the boat paddle part because it's between my fingers. So this probe is going to go, you got to go slow on this, so I don't want to mess you all up. Okay, there's a little bit better picture right there, okay? So there's the frame, there's the hole, and you can see the bow on the back of the, that would be actually physically the back of the trigger, okay? So here comes the pieces. Try not to shade it too much. That piece has got to go down in that hole. It's going to go down the hole, then I'm going to turn slowly and let it lay down in there. And look how easy that lays. Now, you can do that with tweezers, but it's hard to hold two pieces. So it's very important that that little flat piece right there slide up. See where I put him? Little boat paddle. It's got to go right on the back of that trigger bow. See right there? Now, you can put your index finger right there and hold that all together. You do not want that to get underneath that plate. You want to hold it right there. Let's check the top. We'll see the disconnector is sticking up a little bit. Now, this is where it gets tricky. We have got to get all that stuff lined up where you can see through the hole. I'm going to zoom in some more. We're going to get absolutely crazy zoomy with this. Now, I'm holding that in place, and then I'm putting my finger on the trigger. And what you got to do is you got to get it where you can see a hole that is clear, okay? All the way clear. Now watch this. Okay, now watch carefully on this. I'm moving the pieces, the two pieces I had laid in there. I can wiggle them up and down a little bit, okay? Now see it move up and down? Now the trick is you got to move it up and down in there a little bit, but you also move the trigger. Then you can rock the piece that your finger is on, and when you get everything just right, you will see the most amount of light, okay? And then you hold it right there. Don't move anything. Get your pin. Come on, pin. Show yourself off till you get that pin to start to go down in there, okay? Then, and it seems like you can't do it, but just about the time you think that you can't, it'll go, okay? Once that pin goes down in there, here's your next test. Roll it over very carefully. I'm going to expand back out so I don't drive all my crazy people more crazy. And we'll roll it over. And don't roll over too far. Just roll over enough. You can put your hand over that pin and roll over and make sure that your pieces can't come back out, okay? All right, once those are in there like that, they can't come back out, you're sure of it, go ahead and push your trigger up and down a little bit. I like to do that too. Make sure the pieces are captured. You got them pinned. Then once you get to that point, you are done with that phase. That's the hardest part on a 1911. Say, what is next? I'm going to try to show you the hammer all in one whack. So we'll grab the hammer, and we'll grab the other pin. Now this part, now when you do this now, it's kind of important to remember this. Always keep it, you're working on the driver's side of the gun, always keep it with that pin facing down. If you're a nervous Nelly, you can put you a little piece of tape over that if that'll help you. But let's look at how this hammer's going to go in. This is super easy. Here comes the hammer. The hammer's easy. This is big. This is like caveman stuff, okay? Where does the hammer go? Well, it can't go right there because that's where your grip safety is going to go. So the hammer, is going to go up here. Look at that. Boy, I mean, I got it lined up. That's really easy. This part is easy. So I'm going to lay it over just a little bit. This is harder to do on camera than anything else. And grab my pin. Let's see if I can do all this on camera. I don't know if I can do that or not, but I'm going to try. I'm going to say I can. And wiggle the hammer just a little bit. Look at that pin. See that pin trying to go down? Watch this. Boom. Let's get him down. Pin down. Look at that. All right, now I'm going to put my finger over both of them, and I'm going to grab this hammer and see if I actually got him. Boy, I did. Look at that. He's in there. He is captured. He cannot get away. Now, you can make sure your tail is up like that. Notice I got my finger over both pins. Don't let the pins get away. Put the tail up, and then make sure that hammer's free to move. And now that part is done. So we got the two hardest parts on the 1911 gun are put in, and you got to see it here. About drove me crazy. It's so easy to do this. Once you do it, you ought to probably do it about 3 or 4 times. Get everybody away from you, the kids, the wife, the dogs, everybody, just get everything away, turn the news off, turn the TV off, turn the phone off, and just do it 3 or 4 times by yourself. and study the pieces and see how they work. And once you get good at that, that is by far the hardest part of the 1911. If you want more of a challenge, do it and try to film it and get the lighting just right. And then we'll see how you do. Let me know how you do on that. So we're done with that part, and we will see you back on the next section here in just a few minutes. Over and out for now.